Hello and welcome to this week's Geek TV. I'm Tom, I'm filling in for Alex who's away this week. I'm even more of a Doctor Who noob than him, but thankfully our TV editor and Who expert Morgan is here as always to discuss this week's episode Listen. Hello Morgan.
Hello.
So what did you think of this week's episode?
I thought this was a really strong episode actually, my favourite Peter Capaldi episode so far. You know, it was dark, it was quite scary, you know, just scary enough. It was smart, I thought it didn't write down to kids, it was quite complex, which I love. It had great humour, it had a little bit of romance in there as well. Everything you want a great Doctor Who episode to do, Listen did for me. I think I'd rank it up there with some of Stephen Moffat's very best, up there with Blink, up there with Girl in the Fireplace. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was quite enthralling, quite genuinely scary at times.
Yeah.
I suppose, do you think it was too scary for kids?
I think it will maybe get those criticisms. There's always people who say when Doctor Who gets a little bit darker, oh, is it too confusing for kids? Is it too scary? I think on the level of is it too confusing, I think Doctor Who's not watched by very, very young children. It's people, I guess, over 10. That's probably, you know, a good starting age for Doctor Who. And I think you need to give kids some credit. Kids are smarter than you think. And I don't think there's anything that, say, a 12-year-old or a 13-year-old or even a 10-year-old wouldn't grasp in this episode. In terms of being too scary, I mean, it's never really horrific, is it? No. It's never gory. It's not something you'd see in an 18-rated movie. These are just kind of fun scares, kind of like a roller coaster, the kind of scares that kids love to experience. And it's just scary enough that, as you say, you know, adults like us will also feel a little tingle up the spine. Do
you think the monster was real, or do you think it was all in their mind? Do you think it was all made up?
Yeah, there was that ambiguity. It kind of reminded me of the episode Midnight from a few years back, which Russell T Davies wrote, where at the end there's some ambiguity, you don't know exactly what the monster was. Quite similar here. In this case, you don't even know if it was real, or as you say, if it was all in everybody's mind. I personally think there was some kind of threat there, but I like the ambiguity. A lot of times, ambiguity in films and TV shows, it annoys me. It's like, well, just tell me,
what's going on.
Tell us what's going on. That's your job. You're the writer. With this, I enjoyed it. It was nice to have that little level of, oh, you're not quite sure at the end. But I personally think there was something lurking out there, but who knows if we'll ever find out.
Yeah,
what
do you think they'll return to that at all? Or do you think that's
I don't know. I almost hope they don't. I almost hope that's left hanging. I think, yeah, it's nice to have a little bit of ambiguity, a few threads left hanging in storylines sometimes. I
really enjoyed the Doctor's interaction with Clara this week. I thought I like the kind of father-teacher thing he's got going on, the whole do as you're told type thing. Well, what do you think of her relationship with Danny and his storyline? What do you think is going on there?
Well, it's quite interesting because Samuel Anderson, who plays Danny, he's not just playing Danny in this episode, he's also playing the character Orson Pink, who's this time traveller who gets stranded in the far-flung future. And it's very heavily implied that Orson is related to Clara, possibly her grandson, which again implies that she then ends up with Danny. It's quite interesting given that there's all these rumours surrounding Jenna Coleman at the moment, whether or not she's going to leave the show. You know, her ending up with Danny and leaving the TARDIS for him Moffat almost seems to be spelling out her ending.
Yeah.
However, I don't think it's going to be as clean cut as that, because if we already know what's going to happen, there's no surprises left. I'm expecting another big twist coming with Clara and with Danny as well.
Do you think Danny will join them in the TARDIS all the time?
That's the rumour, I think, that Danny Pink will at some point be coming on board the TARDIS for some more adventures, yeah.
And what do we have to expect next week? What are we looking forward to?
So next week, you know, this was a bit of a darker episode. It's been quite a great series for showing off the variety of Doctor Who, I think. You had the darker episode Into the Dalek, for example, and then the romp of A Robot of Sherwood. Yeah. This week a bit darker again, and I think next week's going to go again, a bit more of a romp. It's Time Heist by the writer Steve Thompson. He writes for Sherlock. He's also written a couple of episodes of Doctor Who before. He's co-writing this one with Stephen Moffat, and he previously wrote The Curse of the Black Spot for Matt Smith's Doctor, which was not maybe a fan favourite. It was kind of you know, a lukewarm reception to that one. But he also wrote Journey to the Centre of the TARDIS last series, and that was pretty much universal acclaim, I think. I know I personally loved it. So got high hopes for this one. As I say, it's more of a light-hearted one. It involves the Doctor and Clara sort of robbing the most hard-to-crack, most dangerous bank in the cosmos.
Yeah, and any guest stars next week? Because there wasn't really any this week.
No, there's Keely Hawes next week, who obviously she's coming off her enormous success from Line of Duty. Everyone thought she was amazing in that, so she's quite a big get for Doctor Who, so I'll be interested to see what she does with that role, yeah. And
do you think this will be the high point of the series? Do you think this is going to be topped?
Well, as I say, it's my highlight of the series so far. We're 4 into 12. You know, if I call it now, you know, that's kind of
just end the series now.
Yeah, just end it now. Wrap it up, Moffat. But so I'm hoping they top it. I'm always hoping they top it. But this has certainly set a high benchmark for this series of Doctor Who, I think.
Okay, that's it for this week. Thanks very much for joining us. Send us any questions in the comments below, and we'll see you next time.